It was a chilly autumn day when I received an unexpected call from my son Ethan's school. The principal, Mrs. Johnson, sounded concerned as she asked me to come to the school as soon as possible. As I rushed to the school, my mind was filled with worry. What could have happened? Did Ethan get into trouble? I couldn't fathom what could be so serious that they needed me to come right away. Upon arriving at the school, I was escorted to the principal's office, where I found Ethan sitting nervously. Mrs. Johnson looked at me with a mix of concern and confusion before explaining the reason for the urgent call. "Ethan drew something during art class today, and it's quite disturbing," she said, her tone hushed. My heart sank as she handed me the drawing. My son had drawn a picture of himself standing next to a gnarled tree. From the tree hung 4 lifeless figures, labeled Mom, Dad, Lily, and Max, from closest to him to furthest. I was taken aback and struggled to find words. Ethan had always been a sweet and sensitive boy, and this drawing was unsettling to say the least. I knew it couldn't be just a simple childhood imagination at play. "Ethan," I said gently, "can you tell me why you drew this?" He hesitated for a moment before speaking softly. "I don't know, Dad. It just came into my head and I had to draw it. But I promise I don't want anything bad to happen to you or Mom or Lily or Max. It's just a drawing." I assured him that I understood and that I didn't think he meant any harm. I asked if something had been bothering him lately, but he couldn't pinpoint anything specific. In the days that followed, I kept a close eye on Ethan. He seemed like his usual self, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. At bedtime, he would sometimes stare out the window, seeming preoccupied. One night, I woke to the sound of footsteps outside Ethan's room. I went to check on him and found him standing by the window, gazing out into the darkness. "Dad," he whispered, "I think there's someone there." I looked outside but saw nothing but shadows. "It's probably just a raccoon or a passing animal, Ethan. Don't worry." But he seemed genuinely frightened. "No, Dad, it was them, the ones from the drawing. They were hanging from the tree." My heart skipped a beat as I held him close, trying to comfort him. "Ethan, it's just your imagination playing tricks on you. You're safe, and there's nothing to be afraid of." As days turned into weeks, Ethan's nightmares grew more frequent. I decided it was time to seek professional help, hoping to understand what was troubling him. We met with a child psychologist who spoke with Ethan about his feelings and fears. Slowly, he opened up, revealing his concerns about his family's safety and well-being. It turned out that he had been worrying about our family's future, especially with recent financial struggles we had been facing. Together, with the psychologist's guidance, we reassured Ethan, emphasizing our love and support for each other. Gradually, the nightmares started to fade, and Ethan's spirits lifted. That drawing will always serve as a reminder to me of the importance of being vigilant as a parent, ready to listen and address our children's worries. It also reminds me of the power of professional help and the importance of seeking guidance when needed. Ethan's drawing might have been unsettling, but it ultimately helped us understand and support him better, bringing our family closer than ever before. Under the dim glow of a bedside lamp, I found myself alone in my daughter Emma's room. My wife had gone out for the evening, leaving me to put our 6-year-old daughter to bed. As I settled her under the covers, I noticed something odd on her nightstand, a crumpled piece of paper that seemed to have been hastily tucked away. Curiosity got the better of me, and I smoothed out the paper to get a better look. The sight that greeted me sent a shiver down my spine. It was a drawing of a person, a tall, gaunt figure with hollow eyes and a twisted smile. The detail was unnervingly realistic, as if Emma had captured someone she had seen in real life. "Emma, honey, what's this drawing?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. She looked up at me with wide, innocent eyes. "Oh, that's the man, Daddy," she said casually. My heart skipped a beat. "The man? What man, sweetie?" "The man I see sometimes outside the window," she replied matter-of-factly. He smiles at me, but he's not very nice." I tried to brush it off, attributing it to an overactive imagination. "It's just a pretend drawing, Emma. Maybe you saw someone who reminded you of this man." She nodded, but didn't seem convinced by my explanation. As I tucked her in and kissed her goodnight, I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. Over the next few days, Emma's behavior became increasingly peculiar. She would often stare out the window, her gaze fixed on something that wasn't there. She became withdrawn, speaking less and less, as if she was keeping a secret. One night, as I passed by her room, I heard hushed whispers. I hesitated for a moment before cautiously peeking inside. To my horror, Emma was sitting by the window, talking to herself, or so it seemed. "Daddy, I don't like the man," she whispered, her voice trembling. "He tells me scary things and says he wants to be my friend forever." My heart sank and a chill ran down my spine. There was no one else in the room, but Emma's eyes seemed to fixate on an unseen presence. I called out to her, but she didn't respond, lost in her own world. As days turned into weeks, my wife and I grew increasingly worried. Emma's drawings became more disturbing, filled with images of the ominous man she claimed to see. She began to have frequent nightmares, waking up in a cold sweat, terrified of the unseen presence that haunted her. We decided to consult a child psychologist, hoping they could help us make sense of what was happening. The psychologist spent time with Emma, carefully examining her drawings and listening to her descriptions of the man. She explained that sometimes children create imaginary friends as a way to cope with emotions or fears they can't express openly. However, Emma's case was different. Her fear and distress seemed too real to be merely imaginary. One evening, as we sat in the living room, a deep sense of unease settled over us. The air seemed heavy, and an eerie stillness engulfed the house. Suddenly, the temperature dropped, and the room felt unnaturally cold. Out of the corner of my eye, I caught a glimpse of movement, a shadowy figure standing just beyond the window. I turned my head, but nothing was there. I tried to brush it off, blaming my overactive imagination. But then, Emma's soft voice broke the silence, sending chills down my spine. "Daddy, he's here. The man is outside." My wife and I exchanged fearful glances, unsure of what to do. We felt a palpable sense of dread, as if we were being watched by something malevolent. Summoning all our courage, we decided to take action. We sought the help of the local authorities, determined to uncover the truth behind the sinister man Emma claimed to see. As concerned parents, we couldn't simply dismiss her fears as an overactive imagination. The police conducted a thorough investigation, taking Emma's drawings and descriptions seriously. As the days passed, we felt a growing sense of unease, wondering if there was an actual threat lurking in our neighborhood. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, we heard a knock on our door. My heart pounded as I opened it to find two detectives standing there, their expressions grave. "We might have a lead," one of them said. "We received a tip from a neighbor about a suspicious individual in the area. Matches the description Emma gave." My wife and I exchanged anxious glances as the detectives explained that the man was known to have a history of criminal behavior and had been spotted near our house on multiple occasions. With that revelation, our fear and concern intensified. The detectives assured us they would increase patrols in the area and urged us to stay vigilant. As the investigation progressed, we took extra precautions to secure our home and ensure Emma's safety. We installed security cameras, changed the locks, and kept a watchful eye on her at all times. Weeks turned into months, and thankfully there were no more sightings of the ominous man. But we couldn't shake the feeling that he might still be out there, lurking in the shadows. As time passed, the unsettling memories of that dark chapter began to fade, and life returned to a semblance of normalcy. Emma's drawings became cheerful again, filled with colorful rainbows and smiling faces. Though the man was never caught, We took comfort in knowing that our vigilance and quick action may have deterred him from causing harm to our family. To this day, we remain cautious and watchful, always ready to protect our daughter from any potential threats. The experience taught us the importance of trusting our instincts as parents and staying united to ensure our family's safety. While the mystery of the ominous man remains unsolved, the haunting reminder of the inexplicable and eerie occurrences has changed our lives forever. It's a chapter we can never forget, reminding us to cherish the precious moments with our children and to be there for them through the darkest of times.